Hi, welcome to Dev Diary number 4. My name is Ari, and thank you for joining me today in this brand new Dev Diary. Since this is the first time I've ever actually spoken with the community, I wanted to personally thank you for supporting our project, the Lighthouse. It's been a long project, but hopefully it's going to be a really special one when we do get it out. Quick reminder of who I am, of course. I'm a programmer and founding member at Shadow Knight Studio. I've worked professionally in games and VR systems before in the past, but of course my number one passion is to make really cool video games. If you have any questions for me personally, you can always reach out to me on Twitter. I like to post things regularly and definitely show off snippets of the project every other day. So you can always contact me and ask me any questions personally or even about the project. I'm very candid, so even if you have the most outrageous question, I'll try my best to answer it. So today is actually a really interesting day because we are, without any kind of weird things going on, barring any issues, we're actually feature complete on the Lighthouse. So what that means is every in-game utility, under the hood, component, or interaction in the game world is actually in a completed state. So let me give you an example. Our game managers, our audio managers, our input manager systems, our save systems, our crafting systems, inventory systems. All those things are in a completed state, so that means that all of our backlog items of must-haves are done, which is great news, hopefully to you. It's great for us because that means that we're actually going to be able to start working on a lot of things that we're very excited about on the project. All the little fun, interactions and thriller moments are really going to be polished. And if you can actually imagine our development cycle, as a line, it's actually on a curve here. We've been building and building and building, and we're at this point right here on the curve going up, where you're going to start seeing, like I said, a lot of really cool things being done, and it's actually the most exciting part of the development cycle. So speaking of quality and making sure that everything is rising naturally and good, I want to talk a bit about our interaction system because nothing is more important to us than iterating and improving what we do every day. And the perfect example, of course, for us is the interaction system and the multiple iterations that we've done over the course of almost 2 years now. So as you may know or you may not know, I think we've mentioned it at least a million times, but the Lighthouse actually started, of course, as a point-and-click adventure game. We literally, when we were prototyping it oh so long ago, we took that point-and-click mechanic and we ripped it onto a first-person character in the 3D space. And we thought that would be really cool and unique. Definitely take what was old and make it new again. But obviously that wasn't the case, right? We started, pumping out that demo for people to play, and we must have seen over 100 videos of everyone interacting with the game world. And for us, a lot of the flaws were really exposed. So we met as a team. We started talking about exactly what we would do to improve the interaction system and make it much more natural for the user. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of different players coming from different backgrounds. We assumed that a lot of people who would be playing this particular game grew up playing, Myst games, Monkey Island. They're, definitely competent in games like Counter-Strike from Valve or Half-Life or something. And they would easily be able to pick up on all little nuances in this, and they, remember the good old days of gaming and be really, and really enjoy themselves. Yeah, that didn't happen at all. In fact, it was the opposite. People were getting a little frustrated not being able to pick up items that they wanted to. And as a developer, you really need to make those hard decisions and say, look, if this isn't working out for the player, then we need to do our best to improve it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the interaction system itself, and we can identify exactly what was going on and what we did to improve it. So as you can see from our old system, you had to look at an object exactly. This was great because, again, our intention was that whenever you're looking at at something, it's technically your mouse cursor now. So this is very useful when you're playing the game in VR too. So you didn't have in all instances of the game, you wouldn't always have a gamepad. So if you wanted to play with the Vive, we didn't want you to have to fumble with controls. We wanted you to be able to just look at something and have it be the actual object that you're interacting with. The problem, of course, was that it became very cumbersome. If someone wanted to sit on their couch and play, or even standing, they would have their neck spasming, trying to get that pixel perfect precision on that object. This was definitely not ideal. So we ended up iterating on it. And what we ended up doing was we increased the zones at which the player can look at an object. But even this became, problematic because now that you have this increased range of when you can interact with something, it would actually break puzzles later in the game that relied on close proximity. So it became very difficult for us as developers to know where is the player looking at and what is the real, focus. So we, of course, scrapped that idea and then iterated on it some more. We iterated so much that we ended up coming with this newer system. This system is actually a combination of many different things, such as player distance, right, where the player is located based on the object in question. The actual object screen space percentage. So how much of screen space does this object take up? Object sort order priority and depth tests. We actually check on the depth of the object to make sure that whatever is in front of it or behind it isn't the one that actually gets clicked on. And obviously, blatant visual cues like this giant A that appears, or if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, the little left click button. So all this comes together to help the player interact, and they no longer have to wrestle with the controls or strain their neck in VR. Is this a better system? I happen to think so. Most people who've tried it actually love it. However, all pros, of course, do come with cons, and of course, in any game development, you're gonna have some problems. So you can't have your yin right without your yang. And for us, some of the cons that we've definitely seen so far are actually design cons, right? So by doing this technique, you're no longer going to have that old school control, right? So the old school control, literally pointing, clicking on something, that's gone. So some of the charm of the game is going to be lost by doing it this way. Another thing that we've noticed is some people telling us that the challenge is gone from the game. So by immediately walking over to something and kind of partially looking at it, having a marker appear takes away the challenge of discovering things on your own, right? You're kind of exploring, right? The game is based in a private detective kind of world, so you should be, looking around and finding and searching for clues. And this actually takes away from that, which is not good, right? That could be considered bad. But I actually happen to disagree. I think that the difficulty of our game should not be in wrestling with the controls and searching, all over the place and trying to find something with pixel perfect precision. It should be finding all the objects that you need to help you solve a bigger puzzle. And if you take a look at games like Shadow of the Colossus or even Dark Souls and even Legend of Zelda, they present you with the puzzle that you need to overcome. In the case of Dark Souls, of course, it would be the enemy itself. Shadow of the Colossus, the giant colossi, or any environmental puzzle in Zelda, they don't hide things from you. Everything is given to you. It's up to you to figure out what you have with the tools that are given to you. So the game definitely needs to make sure to go in that direction. I think that's just better game design. And I think that this system will not hinder the experience. It'll actually help the experience for the user. And of course, all the pros that come with it, right? It's much smoother, it's faster to interact, feels much more natural to walk around, sprint if you have to, interact with something, interact with the door. This is all part of the iteration process. So, I think that it's going to work out for everybody, right? People who've never played with games, before they're going to be able to move around. They're not going to have that pixel perfect precision requirement, and they're going to be able to just like look at something kinda, and the system will be smart enough to know what they're actually looking at. And all of our Twitch-based players who are just fast-moving Call of Duty players, they'll be able to move around and get that that fix that they have of just immediate satisfaction. So hopefully this system will bridge the gap between those two extremes, and it'll be better for everybody. So that's basically our iteration process on the interaction system. I think it's a great system. I know you guys will probably enjoy it, and you're going to be able to check it out firsthand when our new demo kicks off, hopefully by the end of the week. So we've added some Easter eggs for people. Definitely a lot of major system overhauls have happened in this project, so you're going to really be able to get a good idea of where we're headed once we start getting to beta, hopefully by the end of summer. If you have any questions for me, just let me know. Again, thank you very much for watching the video. Keep a lookout on the new demo that's dropping pretty soon, and I will see you guys around. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.